Good morning, or whatever it is, wherever you are. Let's see. All right. So index files. For key placement static images. I don't need the base time. Or yeah, the base time of the span. Because the key placement has the list of all of the times where that stuff is there. I mean, I guess the index file could potentially have the base. Well, no, the span map log index is going to be image when the map log is done playing. Oh, yeah, I could possibly still put it. But right now to display key placements, I need to be able to run index files. Although, I kind of want to just run this through and be done with it. For now, that's where it is. So that has to be decoder. Well, mm, well, yeah. If data time in this one. Oh, I still have a data time in here. I actually think I don't use this. I think we are done with that. Span.datatime, span.datatime, options.datatime, 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 options.datatime. That is end of what we passed there. That's end of what we passed there. And.datatime. Okay, so yes, I think we're done with that now. I guess I should get something on screen. Okay, so this is right. So this is how about monuments? So if there's anything here, yeah, I need to load up the index file to see what this might be. This could also be a minor precision issue. Now we're at 24. We should see something if we had it here. The last arc. Last arc I've got data for is actually 10. Start of it. Yeah, in the index file also let me make it easier to find something. Let's go back to something we have a seed for. Okay. So 24. We might be able to see activity. Or I guess, I mean, we can go back to some of the larger arcs, the rift. Or I could go to one of these things. Unless I broke something since I last looked at this. Now, the way I've done things, these endpoints might not actually... Okay, oh, this is also fine, so it doesn't actually cover... Only the most recent ones. Let's try server time. It's like 1019 or... First, I guess the most recent ones could actually be beyond where my data is. Let's try some of the older towns. I know I saw some data somewhere here. Oh, this is way too old. At one point I had seen Red Cow Town. Hmm. Maybe I broke something in the later portions of the day. So if we go back to Rift stuff, that should have something. Well, there was something. This is still fine arc. Okay, well, I can immediately see I don't have something right in my tiles. Although this could have to do with which ones were touched. Um, okay. Oh, well. Yeah, because we don't have the sort of continuous build-up right now without. So that's something. It's probably an incomplete picture. Right, because we're going immediately from span to span. And this could be down amidst smaller arcs. Actually, let's look for a larger one. Those are the big ones, but I'm not sure where their data is. When did arcs end? Did all the work and then asked. I had cohorts. Ooh. Boundless World. So about 11.8. So this was probably right at the edge of that. There's a 2-day one. There's the box. That's Zoom 24. Yeah, I don't have anything right now. Well, this is right. So if this is what I don't have is whether we're at the beginning or the end, right? We're at the beginning. So I had something at Zoom 24. I know I'm limited right now. Delete from the wrong folder. No. We were definitely seeing stuff yesterday, so I wonder if I broke something in the. So we've got all that. Some of these do have spans. We're not fetching anything here. Oh, there's some tiles. So maybe I'm not regenerating things properly? We jump around? There are signs of civilization. There are signs of civilization. So I don't know. So we were at 5 to 7 was a biggish one. Well, there was a road here, something, and our monuments there. So that's something. If we go into here, wow, that got built really fast. I guess we don't have great precision here. So this, I don't have a good marking of how often we get span breaks. It would be more obvious in more of a civilized area, probably. Because that actually is not a very built up. Oof. That might have been terrain. I would expect the span break to like completely clear the map. Well, no, I guess the base tiles. No, it's not using the right base tiles. Need base. There's actually only one span. Nope. Okay. Hmm. Considering that we're actually able to maintain floors, or maybe they actually took down the adobe walls up there. That's like too continuous. I actually I need to find a bigger arc. This might be small enough to still do in one. Yeah, it's using the test files. 31 to 03 was big-ish. 2 to 9, that's like 7 days. Oh yeah, there was the big V. Did I actually continue with the next one? Alright, so I think I actually played in this town. Now, surely this had to go into multiple chunks. Well, they actually pulled up the floor there because they replaced it. Okay, so there. Yeah, we had to do the full rebuild, and now you can't see any of the floors. And we had another span break. Probably terrain generation. Well, or data fetching. So let's pick a time. Yeah, that initial build. I need to figure out which steps are low there. All right, so you do place of the floors, and then we have fan break. This should all be floored. What does... Okay, so this goes back to most recent final image, which does include everything. Oh, but you actually... Oh, right. It's tiles that haven't been touched in a while, which might not happen too much in the Rift. So I have a definite break there. How about... Uh, the Boundless World was 11.8. I don't know exactly when in 11.8. That was a short one. That was probably our first big one. Well, I think that would have still been around this area. And all our natural objects are wrong. I'm still surprised that there was no activity here. Or we're not properly handling stuff here. Let's try and get you to final image territory. Oh, I appear to have gone beyond my animation zone. All right, and zoom 24 is where you might be able to see, yeah. We've actually moved beyond here. Now this is where I'm starting to doubt my data. I know I produced something, but... This might be incorrect timestamp. 157389545. Well, there's a question of what's the correct time and what is here. So it is trying to load spans right now. Yeah, the seeds are kind of garbage. One five seven three eight. Of course, this doesn't tell me where they are. Might need... Well, I can put the grid display on. Sort of be... 157. Okay, so there's the reset. One five seven three eight 95415 is an end time of a span. That means it should have a directory. I guess is the real thing. 95415. Okay, so we don't necessarily have like a 00 already. Maybe the start of the Eve walk was actually a little bit before. What do I call that? Checker. Yeah, so checker layer. Okay. Defines it. Add to map. All right, so Zoom 24. I closed it. Oh, 0. Well, there's still no 0. So this might actually kind of be the problem in that it was not this time step. Yeah, there's a 0, 0. Yeah, okay. I was just right, because at the end of the timestamp it would have moved on. Yeah, so there's the most recent. Right, that's Y, not X. Hmm. We would actually have to be looking here at -10, which has 0 as one of its. Yeah, this would be easier to associate to the directories if I did one or the other of these in the opposite order. Anyway, this actually, so we know that there is some stuff at one of the zeros here. So there should be some stuff. If we could get the code to do the thing, expect it to be. Does this affect, well, writing base time through. So I was going to. And then I stopped to look for an example. But until I can actually use that for. I distracted myself. Oh, right. I started doing this, and you don't even compile. Oh, I was looking at data time, and I was like, do I need you? I don't think I need you. Right. So our encoder and decoder probably did some stuff with that. Span. Span's going to need to be adjusted as well. Oh, okay. So we never decoded it. I need to take that other field back out for a moment. It's going to confuse things. Okay, so you're compiled. Oh, I probably don't want to have checker on all the time, actually. For what I'm doing right now. But it's not complaining about anything. Oh, I wanted to have something that at least showed some data. Which I didn't have anything at this time step. Okay, so that had something here. So you should be done at data time. You have a base. That means wherever we construct this, well, that's partly in the decoder. Yep. mostly just pass these. And right, from the perspective of loading this, it's all the same thing. When we send it over to the other end, base is going to be like unto a data time. Okay, so that compiles. Probably have spans here. Data time. Okay, you're a base 0. Does that mean that you are a base of... That would essentially be, yeah, your data time. Okay, cool. So that's there. That was just an easy check off. All right, so we've got field of that. That is going to be, well, we need index files before we really do that. Did I even open one for source control yet? Guess not. Turned on checker, that's probably fine for now. Hmm. All right, so I might need to be starting to do some abstracting of map building. Key placement. Key placement sprite. Do you do all of the data preparation to draw that? But I'm going to need some of that data preparation to use as a baseline for the individual placements. And show natural objects. I just straight up duplicate this. Well, it may have ended up a little bit differently. Because the key placement only needed that where there was nothing. Map logs kind of had to start from that as a base. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and you had to care about times and okay. Yeah, so that was it's a little bit different. Hmm. It also has a size filter and that doesn't. No, that's because Right, because that was built to zoom. You possibly could have used that filter. Not sure. Well, okay, so this is going to get a base image that is right. I used to be putting these all into the map logs. These would get placed first. I'm going to be basing it on the static image, although I guess that could kind of be the same thing, where it's just a log of placements that need to occur. Probably natural objects get taken over from this perspective by just getting a base image of something. Okay. So I need something that is independent of this layer that I can just ask for something. Ask for the current data. And that thing will need fetching the appropriate data. That will get asked for the base time image. Trying to do everything. Also have to deal with indexes. But since I want to sort of abstract data fetching side, and I want to abstract that first. That is going to add an extra step before we can render any tiles. Uh, oh, I already had layer.load images. Okay, and that had it done through the tile. So that would be, that's layer load image. Which was a sprite thing. Right. So the map log prepared a key placement, which was used by this and the right thing. So you just fill the key placement and you're done. Map log has to rebuild it on occasion. Well, I mean, it's still going to be a done function. But having that be a layer function might be. Where are you? Yeah, your map log sprite. All right, so we have the concept of load tile in the sense that it's raw data. And you're actually doing like all the parsing and stuff. I need a layer above that that will give me, that loads everything. Filter the range we care about. Oh no, that's placements. Right? No. Why do you go into special? Oh, options dot place versus these placements. For special, you fill natural in only where there's nothing there. Special plus placement, natural. Natural concat. Okay, that's just how the concat syntax. The natural special, for clarity, it might be better to do this like that. You have the same thing? Kind of. There's the in-frame check. Size filtering. And this is where we're doing some setup for measuring data processing versus image loading and stuff. Because natural object generation could be a thing, data loading could be a thing. I'm going to have to sort out which of these values are needed by which steps of this. All right, so we built up an occupied map. We can only generate natural objects as the load tile at these chords. So does load tile take care of the zoom adjustment? Data zoom. Yeah, so you take care of data zoom adjustment. Can't tell which thing. Which is where extracting that to files would be nice, but I don't want to add that giant refactoring. That takes care of that. Static display, that's the data time. So you just need to have that final key place image, which is pretty close what map log is going to. You add a you add that to things. Floor XY. Okay, so for the specials, that's it. Natural. It's a key. Why does it get a key? Right, because when we process all of these, we have to update the appropriate tilers we're going through, and that's some pre-calculated data. Well, the key is just XY, so that can be added later. That's kind of what we do. If that needs that little bit of extra data, that can do. Probably want to see about doing something similar to this tile cache. Does all of this. And then I'll probably want, just for parity, to do something similar for the map logs. And we're going to have to figure out what of this context do we need to carry forward to be able to do all of this. So we've got this tile cache. Tile cache? Not a tile cache. Tile data cache, which is just responsible for getting you raw data. I guess I could add data building on top of that. But that's that might be collecting too much stuff. And there's key placement sprite right there. This would be more like a... Because this actually works for any kind of file that we're... this would be... Would use that like a... all right, so we did use l.class class to get the options set up. Oh, it has initialized too. I don't know if we're going to need that. That is a mechanism they give us. Is this a cache? You were indexing... Got a list, you've got an index. You're by URL. This isn't gonna necessarily be as nice, although if I construct a complete image at that data time, and anything that is a chunk out of that could do it. We're scoping ourselves to static data right now. I don't think I'm going to have URLs. Unless I have this construct its own tile data cache, which I'd rather do it that way. And then I don't know what you're going to do now. So you had a load tile is your main function. So you're going to, it's sort of a render, sort of a composition. That part, this is definitely asynchronous. Yes, like all of this stuff is in the asynchronous result of that. Let's just get tile. So we need the chords we really want. Where does size filtering or limit filtering? I think that actually happens down here. Well, I'm probably only filling stuff in the relevant range for this stuff. Load tile. Oh, yeah, load tile take like option data. Data, zoom. Right, because that goes down to get data tile URL. So that's just kind of passed through to the URL function. And what did I just done? No, you did a promise. Okay, so I still got a fetch in there. So what are you going to need? You are going to be... You're going to need the data. Data return? You're going to deal with the text. So the things we need to watch out for are basically layer. That's going to be like the this context and then all of the other stuff. So we actually don't hit any layer methods doing most of it. We're going to hit a lot of these local variables, though. So for you preparing an image, natural objects, natural special placements, The final sorting might get left out. All right. Some of this is probably going to have to move back. But it's there and it's in source control. Tile.keyplace. Well, this isn't going to... Oh, tile is the context here, actually, for a lot of this. Okay, so that was the only place that was an issue. And that'll be a promise. So you don't necessarily have a cache directly. And we're going to need to trace down all of our variables. Or do I just replace cache with trying to do that directly? I might eventually want to cache the processed stuff. Bit. So if you become getTile and don't return text, but do return a keyplace, then tile that. And when we construct placement sprite, so this was a more or less a static object. This is going to be more or less a static object too. I just called this key placement. You don't get a URL, you get key placement cache. And actually, you don't use this. That's actually part of the cache you get. Don't like these names, but I don't have better ones right now. And then that's going to have a whole lot of out-of-scope variables. Key placement image. Placement image. Option. So yeah, a bunch of that stuff came from the options. I forgot to check that one. Options.placements, options.showNaturalObjects. GetMapObjectRaw needs the entire thing. So can you be straight up options? You need to have time that is a specific field for the URLs. To fill in natural objects, we're going to need the entire generation set. Now you've got your options. I normally fetch that from this local things option. These could vary with each tile. Oh. Yeah, this might not be cacheable because it could depend on... It depend on the chords. Well, the chords at the time should be sufficient if we like get the URL or something. This thing right now does not have its own options. I guess I'm mostly going to call these generation options. I think, yeah, because we haven't done this yet. Get map object raw, and then we're into something else. At which we have to pass. Start X, yes. Now we get all these little things. Lots of other get tiles. Which you probably are going to need to dig copy holes. I'm out of water, though. I'll be back in a few minutes. All right, well, the storm is not... It's around somewhere. Are you... Oh, Alpha Games.
My name is B.L. Zebub, and I am from the depths of Hades, and I've come up here to wreak havoc upon the earth and also maybe go to a Bed Bath & Beyond. But you gotta be really careful in that Beyond section. Yes, I totally ripped off Family Guy, because I'm Satan.
Huh. I wasn't there a second ago. Nothing. Where's it that one?
Pinkun.
Huh?
Saki, what are you saying? Think back to what all the people we questioned said when they saw you.
Man, you can talk, and kind of fluently, too.
That guy didn't bat an eye at your existence. He was just impressed you could talk.
Oh, how unfortunate.
Hey, you go into that. Hey, no, not you.
We get some more damage going here, please. Artillery beam? You're so awesome. Let's do that. Boom, boom, boom. His weapons are basically down at this point. We're really... I feel like I would have liked... There we go. That's a good amount of damage. Yeah, man, artillery beam's on point. 2 missiles, 1 drone, 35 scrap, won't accept surrender. Third time that artillery beam is a total bro and takes out their cloaking. Boom! 1 fuel, 1 drone, 45 scrap. Nice.
Welcome back. Okay, so you rely on a whole lot of state. I guess if I can track down It might, okay, so you get used a few times. This might not get used. It's used a couple times. Tile. Yeah, I guess get down there. Yeah, so the things that get used within these coordinates, I guess I kind of need to work from bottom up. Min size, that's a different thing. You're probably used down here. Yeah, but you have... Okay, so that one only depends on chord Z. I used to do this, all the numbers up top. But it's also nice to kind of have them closer to where they're used, so it's easier to track this stuff down in the future. So you stand alone. Bottom, okay, that's into the entirely different thing, right? That's an entirely different thing. So that's probably only used here. Yeah. In fact, are you used? Yeah, tile image. Yeah, you are only used down here too. That probably goes for right as well. And maybe this will end up being a thing that we can like, fill in natural objects or something. Although I reuse the occupied thing between there. All right, index. That is calculating it in the other section, so that is probably only used over here. Yeah, it's in got the start version. Yeah, it's calculating it again. And these are mainly used down here from the looks of things. Well, I guess I didn't really get beyond that. Okay, and it's also used in this stuff, so that's a little bit of an argument. These, that's calculating it again. So you are probably used in this stuff. Yeah, calculating again. There. So you are used in here. Interesting how this stuff felt like it came in at the right indent, and then all these little variables aren't. Oh, because that was calculated outside of this thing, that's why. Arguably, it could have been calculated before the call. Then padding. Okay, so that's the other one. Boy. Okay, there's the get tile. Padding up. No. Padding down. No. Padding. Okay, so you're used there. You're used there. Padding down, padding up, padding X. Let's see. Well, that's the tile set attribute. Tile size. Right, you're a different one. Oh, I might. That. I'm doing that. No, you're. Maybe the other one had depend. Okay, that's that. Or get tile end. Yeah, you depend on tile size. So tile size is used for this tile setup. Oh, I removed some stuff from the wrong spot. Yeah, there's some the duplication. This is why we're doing this. Wait. Yeah, get tile. Are you used? Oh, you're used down here. Some of these still need tile size though. And that cuts a layer method. I could calculate. I could pass it in. I mean, this mostly depends on Zoom. I guess it's just possible that you've overridden it. That is technically a per layer option. The one options block is mainly for the URL building. Wouldn't really use tile size. We've got chords, time, we've got generation option. Tile size override kind of be. All right, well, we know that in practice our tiles are 256. We can totally stub that in. And apparently that gets us past like immediate errors. Oh, this might be one where the seed's wrong, but we're mostly looking for data right now. So I think that takes care of everything where we had references to other variables. Was that just an extra argument? Or determine the URL, the time determines the URL. think tile size is a leaflet. Leaflet source. It doesn't need get tile size. Options.tile size. If it's a point. Okay, so the override can be a thing. If it's that, this suggests that options.tile size does indeed get set. Get tile size. Initialize. What? Tile layer. Options.tile size is expected to be a regular old number. Wait. Oh, that's if it's like retina display stuff. But still, it's expected to be a number if it's retina and max zoom. We're expecting tile size to be a thing at that point. Or this is gonna, well, maybe null gets translated to 0 and done 0 divided by 2. Maybe it's passed through as tile. Okay, so grid layer has a tile size in its default option, which means that our options should have a tile size. It doesn't like splitting files. Now that will be a single number. Oh. Really? Oh, no, it's not options. Generation. Even though it's not really generation anymore. That doesn't let us do unequal size tiles, but and that's that. And well, yeah, we saw it being called. So that is it's a placement layer that's just showing natural objects. And we're loading images and showing them. I think that's all okay. Now, there's definitely some distinct steps here. And other than some of the dimensional reuse, it might be nice to further extract things. So this is actually very straightforward. Other than the fact that we're sort of building up this mutable occupied. I think tile size is limited to there. These points are only used in calculating these points, which are mostly used to calculate these, which are used in. Yeah, so there's some dependencies there. You could probably reduce it to arguments somewhere along the line. Oh, wait, I missed a start X. That pushes all this stuff up. Yeah, some of my time stuff got. Is this? Yeah, this is key place. Uh, Data processing, data tile. What we've got right here, if it comes into play, is that this used to be done there. Really, when we come right back, this is before we fetch. So if we start measuring that. Okay, but these would be relatively simple parameters to do to a function. So that would be placements is text. Just the fact that I need to have both a return value and a occupied map. Now I guess the occupied map could be built up afterwards. It's kind of nice to build it as we go. Hmm. Well, having this extracted is a step because, well, it's a, yeah, I might have to work on this more because I'm gonna need to do layering. I feel like it misinterpreted that diff. Right, because it's seeing all this code is the same. And that was a big chunk. Thank you. Yep, I had volume up for probably for some stream. No, not really up, huh? I develop web apps on occasion. This is a web app of sorts. It's an online map of a game world. It's a little broken down right now, but also, well, it's also a little broken right now. You can see some of the stuff from back when it was working in there. I'm trying to get this working on new data sets, which are far more continuous and potentially larger. So the all at once I was doing before doesn't really hold up. Oh. Yeah, I haven't run straight up Linux for a long time. I did do Debian many years ago. Well, it depends on what you want to do. If last time I tried it, I was trying out a game that had Linux support, and I never quite sorted out driver things. Of course, I guess I haven't run the modern version, so maybe I don't really have an opinion there, or a informed opinion. But I understand it's pretty popular with people just doing like development work and stuff. All right, so I was looking at this. I think that's all okay. So we have extracted the ability to build. Well, Nightlight was pretty recent, feature-wise. I mean, I guess Max adopted it too, but yeah, and then they've got all the different shells and things. Yeah, I've run Flux for a long time. Also, just because of sort of my like default mannerism, I don't have this channel marked mature, so I would appreciate if people kept language in line. Yeah, I guess since I've had Flux, I haven't really noticed the effect of the Windows Nightlight. Oh, my options go. No. No? Do I not have enough width? There we go. I asked, and you did not respond. I wonder what happens to the moderation tool. How about show moderator actions, show mod icons. That's those. Let's see. So that extracts key tile building. Now I need to make that thing know about indexes. Oh, you know what? Well, data time is still relevant for the index. Now you see load tile just has chords and data. I might need a separate method for load index. Or just, maybe load tile actually might. I still need this thing separated for map log build up. Do I have, let's see, perhaps we could do this with some extra abstraction here. Because this is going to return asynchronously already. List push record. URL. Oh, and the promise for that particular file. Uh, uh, right, so that's that. And expire is number of records. So that is indexed by URL. A full URL. Oh, but you had a tile. That would be a nice place to manage it. Oh, but this is a generic file cat. It's currently used for both. If I add that kind of behavior, then would also apply that indirection to maplog. Are really only valid for their. The activity only happened to do that most time step if you're trying to grab a few times. I could have different objects for that. It's nice to have one. Do I use playing Nexus don't even have chords. Not quite the same. somewhere we need a layer of index. It would be nice to have that at the layer of just get me a tile. That's basically a different, because the map logs are still going to be straight up just a straight data fetch at that time. I could go on whether or not I provided a index URL. Now we potentially have some convoluted logic in that we immediately fetch if we have no index. Bunch of other stuff if we don't. Think I might want to fork this and then see if we can fold it back. Data tile URL. Well, chord still has Z in it. Thinking that's data tile URL. I could potentially have like index tile URL. Now I've been putting that stuff in here. So in theory, that needs to be configured with this as well. Could be an option. Yeah, it could just be a straight up option. That'd be one place to put it. Although, since this is indexed, that's for chords. That is just number of records. So we request a tile. Since this is indexed, you really a layer? This is left over from extracting. You don't create a tile here. I mean, maybe we should alias our this, but that was totally left over. So data past our time, that's actually not the only thing we pass there. Time. I was kind of opening that up to be other stuff, but it doesn't seem like it's ever other stuff. File data, indexed. Data zoom. That's the data URL. We're not really there yet. We need to check our cache. Get data tile URL. So this could work once we know the proper time. But does this just become like load data tile? Like load index tile? So we don't care about the coordinate adjustment. We do sort of care about data zoom. That's really all we care about. That gets it at the specified time. It's a URL. We can cache it like anything else. We have a record for resolving the text of the record. Means you know. Possibly there's a chunk in here where we figured out what URL we want. Yeah, actually that doesn't depend on coordinates, doesn't depend on time. That's just like load file. Okay, so that's load file. That takes care, well, that condenses a lot of code here and makes it less awkward to duplicate some bits and pieces, perhaps. Let's load index tile, load data tile. Our public interface is probably still load tile. And what you want to do is an index tile, which might be cached. That gets you the index text. Which maybe I want a parsed cache on that. But this is a start. Console.log index text. Returns a promise. And We just return that for now. We do the load tile. We attempt to get the index. That will end up as our ultimate return to thing asking for data. Well, I do this. If I just go back to my chords, I could... Oh, now this is where... I don't have a good name for this still. We can just go back to the same thing we got, and that should allow things to function while letting us see if we actually got something. And what, we haven't used this yet. So this is a replacement for you. In the case where it's the key placement, load index tile is not defined. Right. Access beyond this object. Get index tile URL is not a function. Get in. It's not really a tile. No valuable provided for variable. Well, I haven't actually provided a necessary argument to this function. That key placements. No value provided for variable x. I think do deactivate breakpoints, pause and exceptions. That's in a compressed file, but I don't really need that. I need the call stack. We're calling get index URL. These are old. Okay, so in U chords. I added this as a parameter. Idiot. I actually meant to make this the first one. Because we need the index before the placements. That stopped. We got something. I can, yeah, it's in pause, not play. Okay. So we got that. I think we only got it once. Or did we? Because that's from get index uses load tile, which then returns the promise that has the file. So I guess we would return the text multiple times. And we're still returning that data. Okay. Now I have to decode all this stuff. semi-encoded format, so it's not a straightforward blast. We're still going to need lines. We do each line? If I take it line by line and handle how I process it, this can be mappable. Not one-to-one, no. Funnily enough, I'm only looking for a single coordinate here, so I could... I need to streamline that at some point. I could just scan through for the thing I need. But what this needs to be is for each coordinate, now this is the load tile level. I might need to do data chords on this. Well, to find out what I actually need, we're still trying just to parse this thing. There's going to be a for each. Going to get a line. Let's get an example. Okay, there's an example. Oop. Else. So a line can start with T. I think you can just index JavaScript strings. Yeah. If line 0 is E, then the, I guess I'm gonna need a current time. I really expect the first line to be a T. Then we want, what is it? Either slice or splice. Splice isn't even a function. And that seems to be exactly it. And then, is it parse int? Now that is going to be, well, yeah, this is the value that we, oh, is this an int? I'm using this as a data time, which is a string. I mean, I guess we use coordinates that way. Else, it is a data line. They come in groups, but there's only one kind of data line. And parts, or line dot split on space. I have to treat the first one specially. Y is parts 0, parts dot slice 1, all right, tile time of, I want this to be indexable. What I was doing before equals current time get that right now. Line dot splice is not a function. Oh, slice. Right, line dot slice. It's like splice again. Assignment undeclared variable parts. And this happens for every tile. And we see a variety of timestamps. These are still strings, though. Oh. Because I rewrapped things. I could actually pre-format these into URLs. But then I couldn't really search it by the XY. All right, and then maybe I need to give you the lookup table since you're calculating the XY anyway, but the way we build this up for what we've got. Or with what we've got. I calculate data zoom multiple times. All right, so data chords. So then we would attempt to look up chords.x, chords.y. This is undefined. Right. This was the cache. This is just very noisy. Okay, so we get times for every tile we looked up, and some of these are, oh. Well, it is possible there was nothing there. I'm surprised there's nothing this close to center. And I guess really data chords is... No, there's actually no 0, 0. I mean, there might not have been like a real building here, but, well, this was just an argument through this function, so saying data.time. Well, can't do a hard replace. Doesn't tell me if we found it. Hmm. So there may have been extremely small disturbances. I'm actually like an awful lot of sand. Well, maybe it's a sand jackpot. This might also not be the right base layer. I kind of need some place where there was definite activity in the past. I expected there to be something around here. 25. 24. This is 1116. So we might have been... Well, I guess what we do. 11.8, 11.16. 12, oh, because I went to now. I'm not really sure which part of that we were looking at. Okay, that's that, which... Yes, yes, we're still a ways out. This is... Oh, I may have been over... May have been over the edge. That looked like it could have had some activity. If we're near the edge... 1110. That... Okay, so that span had activity there. Like two spans that main. So this, I think, is still part of the same world, and that should be in the past. Oh yeah, coming up with a bunch of undefines there. Oh, yeah, we're not finding you. I need a better reference for the actual 8 to 16 should have been the period of consistency. Arc. We went to a new span chunk. I'm not seeing anything down here except undefined. Maybe that's because we're hitting our cache. All right, so I need to know things like, did we get a text? Well, how about... Okay, is it a typo? Okay, yeah, for each one, we got something. And it came up undefined. I might be looking at well, but we know that we're back here. Well, no, I was ORing it into the specified time. So our effective time here is a little bit different. Yeah, so 1573358. Let's look at that one specifically. 15733. And examples of things that are whiffing. Well, I guess I should, this is where I need to check. Did we parse things? Yeah, we got something there. So that's a 0 for negative, negative, negative. I see a 0, 4 there, buddy. Is it a 0, negative 4? Okay, maybe I'm putting my coordinates together wrong? Well, it's the only thing it's printing. Data chords. The modified ones that we just calculated. Okay. So we're at this thing. And it tends to go, I guess 24 hours rounds off pretty nice. Oh, no, that is the same. Okay. Well, not necessarily that. Ooh, that. But we're back at 1219. Okay, that was a world change. We were running into things before that. And then, yeah, 8th. Yeah, so we had a little bit of natural state there they hadn't developed yet. Next timestamp is there. It might Yeah, we can see the build up section. It's not gonna work into the next one because that hasn't been done yet. A very short-lived town, but as we view periods beyond that, we are maintaining. This is yeah, I don't have the times here. Well, also I don't know exactly which tiles. Well, it's what's in view. Oh yeah, so these are mostly 1-to-1. Oh, there's a difference. Or is it not? No, it's a 6-6. Are we ever picking a different time? No, time. That's the time we picked, and it looks to me like we're getting stuff in the past. So this would be the one we picked. That would be what we put in. May have not been the first thing I scripted. Okay, so there's a... No. Looking at the wrong digits. Well, this is perhaps too much. This is the point where we'd know it. Okay, so we are picking some old tiles sometime. Oh. So this was a string. All right, so all this area was untouched at this timestamp. 734, 733. We will need to revisit the efficiency of reparsing that all the time. But we have the ability to load those for static images. And well, this is still worth checkpoint. There's probably a lot of other refactoring we could do. Maybe I just end up with my speakers high. All right. I would like to take a break. I will be back in a few minutes. All right. When I'm out here, it's only going to be. Wait, I got a pie. Really, I did. Ah! I grabbed a new pie. I must accidentally put it down somewhere. And I die in the wilderness again.
Yeah, it's basically World War I with cannibalism. I don't want to retain anything. Look at this. We're gonna have 7 nightmares and... Or no. We're gonna have 4 nightmares and 6 madnesses. That's actually a little on the useless side. Okay. This is infinite nightmares and madnesses. Infinite. You know what the best part is? They're all dead because I just activated so many skills, but I do have 6 nightmares, all cost 0, and 6 madnesses that all cost 0. And we're gonna bouncing flash this last dude just for...
Now I see you need this uncommon perk up. Appreciate the follow, Tiny PK.
All right. So that's... Well, I'm kind of curious if we can condense some of this back. And I guess I could have like the index cache and I could just use my regular old and wrap an index of the regular old tile data cache. And really could use tile data cache for the index files by itself. And yeah, maybe you want to have a specialized one to do the parsing and keep the parsed version. We ended up having would that be, that would just be an instance of you, that would just be an instance of you, or else it would just ignore the coordinate bit. I have to figure out where to put this thing. To make this its own cache. This its own cache. All that file fetching. And I'd still have to have some little wrapper that stuck them together and fetch the right thing with the same interface. could we image so this would be like index would be U. I hit caps lock. We still have to have something to glue them together. But you would be something like this. And I don't know that you would really have. Actually, I probably need to see about having that reference down to these things somewhere. The one disadvantage of this is that we kind of end up duplicating the zoom setting. So you don't have any URLs. You get index cache and data cache. I don't know if we have this stuff. Actually, yeah. Data zoom is a method of those, so I might be able to use those. Oh, expire for a compound thing is going to have to go down to its bits. You don't directly load file. We're just using that in the other one. Let's load tile. I guess I could still have method wrapper. And we do all this stuff. So maybe the other cache needs to have a method for that. Something's going to come along here. Unless I have this like create its own instances of the others, but then it still needs the URLs. So I actually want not just, well, also I used not just calculate this. I actually need a way to get data chords out of this. Because I need to be able to do that. My data tiles to find the right time, pass down to here. Which point I don't need to recalculate data chords. But to maintain the interface, I do. You don't directly use the other field for time and stuff. Do I use data zoom? No. Do I use cell size elsewhere? No. Do I use this more than once? For printing it. Then I can take this out of here. So we're referencing through a lot of objects. Well, that's just a this reference. And you don't actually have an index, or you don't actually cache anything. Okay, so we're still showing stuff. Now, in theory, if this actually comes up bust, we could just skip this. And skipping 404s is one of the things that I was hoping to get out of this. Now, you were expecting to fetch a tile. Not found at... Well, that's beyond really. Are you running this code? Yeah. Okay, now we get it far enough out, and so there actually is data here. It's just like super sparse. Actually, one way we can maybe help this. And it might be very small objects too. Yeah, so some Eve wandered through, picked up and dropped a gooseberry. And the tile's been touched, and these are Zoom 24 tiles. So they're pretty big in data terms. So that lets me skip the fetch. I'm still gonna process it as a whole tile. Or actually we kind of kept around. All right, so you do that. The tile image comes along. I guess you could have processed index, but I'm nice to just think of that as get me some data. Then we take placements, we do, and then we still process special placements and objects. We rewrite that. Tile data cache. Okay, index date doesn't have indexed. Doesn't have zoom anymore. There's the little town we were looking at. All right. Let's see. So right now, map log is just straight up data. Fine. We need. But when we go to use map log, we're going to here, yeah. Yeah, we see a couple of the recent placements that were sort of in this chunk. So. Oh yeah, we totally got out of sync on our time somehow. This probably doesn't set a time window. Hmm. Yeah, it used to be the arc. Yeah, I might need to about that. Subwire. Okay, so that's a little bit better. Yeah, then that falls off a cliff, and you see some of the final things that happened in the next section, but so you also need key placement. Well, you also need, well, what you really need is the tile image as your baseline. And I might want to pull out a thing similar to that. That problem. For building map log images, just to kind of keep the parity between the two layers. Key placement, right. Your create tile is much simplified. We would like setting up. Yes, we changed your interface from load tile to get tile. Map log sprite. Now, this might be a little bit more complicated. Well, this is all the stuff that we're kind of doing some very parallel logic. And we're going to need to repeat some of this because we have to select stuff out of placements rather than other stuff. So natural objects, we're going to boot. That is going to be just like, we're going to get that from our base image. Special placements we're going to get from our base image. Yeah, because we're not trying to do accurate times on some of them might actually have. Mostly their start of period. And then tile at might also be a bit of a thing we could put into the same chunk. All right. So the natural and special objects could get from the placements. You know, if you're done deleting stuff, we can empty storage. Last I looked, it was still 4 gigabytes. Okay. I've somehow used up 4 gigabytes since I started this morning. Don't ask me how. You can ask Windows that one. I guess maybe things in recycling bin are bigger than things out of recycling bin? And this still hasn't caught up. So I may have to look and see. Either this is lagging or something else is using up a lot of space. Which I guess that could be the real explanation for what happened, but there was several gigabytes of data there. But maybe something else went haywire that we're going to have to look into. Because That's still not very much. And the recycle bin didn't really do as much as I expected either. Hmm. The bulk of the work is going to be here, and then I'm still going to have where I do these things, I'm going to have to maybe do a little bit of updates on. Wait, no. All data structures, it wouldn't really hurt them to have time. I could even assign the times to that for map logs. Oh, no. Natural and special objects were pushed way, way down. I had a better name for that. You are indeed building this out thing. Do you have the timestamp? Data has a time. Tile image. Yeah, this is above that abstraction layer, so we don't necessarily know the proper time of these things, but this is, in theory, what it looked like at that time. So I need to check. Is that time for maplog sprite? Yeah, you're in milliseconds. So we can go ahead and add that to this. There's just going to be data.time. That's the string time. And it's going to be the same for all of these. So that'll be my baseline. Oh, they's also had key. No, dot key. No. Yeah, that's just straight up XY. And you do filtering out. Oh. That was placements. Well, from the perspective of map logs. Or was that natural objects? No. Special placements, natural objects. I mean, everything we're doing here is to a certain extent image at this time. There should only be one thing per tile. Oh, but I might actually want to move the sword out of here. Because the sword is going to be different for the two. That's just concat. Well, natural special placements is going to naturally put that into time order. Right, and then I have to resort that. Well, that stuff is all the first chunk at the same time. And okay. All right. So you can run and return me just my data. This has the additional twist that we get. We're going to natural special, we're going to get base. Then we're going to get our map log. So it's going to be this plus this. Might be nice to extract this, but let's see, how much do we need? A tile. We need the map log, we need the time. Oh. Actually have to manage objects and floors separately. Which right, we're assuming that this has already been reprocessed, so there's exactly one floor and exactly one thing. Occupied. Because this is only for special placement. That might get weird at times. I'm wondering if I should, like, re-separate. Right now, it's just straight map log processing. Trying to end up splitting it out every single time. And we're caching these. All right, well, this doesn't need to change. I don't think. It just might be nice to extract that functionality. This is instead of tile image. All right, we got 2 places. Tile key. So you get you're going to see this one only 2 caches. It'll be a get tile. Cache.load tile. It's gonna have to do. I guess it's gonna need 2. Well, it's going to ask this thing for an image, and it's going to ask the cache. So that was you, that was you, that was you. You're going to get a object cache. You're going to get a argument order arbitrary a key generator. Can I do that? Okay, must have been copying some leaflet code. And we still managed to we're there. The cache is going to look that's going to look the same. So right now, these are promises. We really can't do anything until we have both. What is the browser promise API? Promise at all? Okay, so that's gonna be that one. And are you chords? Well, you have to pass at least that much. Data generation. Right, because I've got a get tile right here. So that's going to be text and well, this also is not just date. Well, I guess the data, I need 2 times. I need the time of this map log and the time of it's based upon. Which almost suggests I should name those different. So right now it's been passing time here, or all the other URL parameters we might need. Should I at some point add server or something? This is actually going to be specific. Do I pass you both datas? Okay, so get tile gets me key place, which we were just sticking in there. And then you so we were fetching text. You are using start X start Y, which let's see, depends on our coordinates, depends on our tile size. Tile size in our other one we got from generation. And just treated as uniform. That gives us our start. And map logs, right. Placements, map. Oh, and then we do a filter, which is gonna need the padding stuff. At least. Padding, right bottom. Right bottom calculated here. There it is. I'll log. And that is down in here. This is all done in one go. I guess it's kind of part of this. It uses start and end. Okay, so that was the things, placements themselves. Natural objects should be taken care of. Special objects should be taken care of. Tile.maplog is the result of this. So our initial result is placements. Key place, placements. And this is all stuff we still want to set up here. So you are going to return log. Right now, I could handle the double fet straight up in here. But maybe I want to do something else with this. Also a place I might want to consider moving this, throwing in a little bit of context right now. Well, mostly the tile. Like, as we're storing all that stuff. Okay. So that's a tile log. We'll use that. It's gonna be somewhere similar to this. Key placement image. So there's the map log cache. I call it key placement image, but now it's not really an image, is it? And now we're back to terrible naming. So that would suggest this is like maplog log, which is also kind of terrible. I haven't quite figured out like what these things are. They're just objects that so tile log needs the map log cache and key placement. Hate these names. And I don't think you have any options either. And when we create map log layer, it gets that. We removed a big chunk of stuff out of it. This is not load tile. This is get tile. Get tile. Yeah, so that is the log data. Need generation, we need it's not layer.options. Oh, this is a thing we don't have right now. So I can see if anything blows up here. But we're going to have to pass in addition to data time, our base time, which I think we pushed through earlier. Yeah, you see unexpected token. Right. Okay, nothing directly blows up. Well, I don't know. Oh, generation is not defined, so no surprise anything happened. Oh, right, it's not generation. This is just... Apparently I never... Oh, I did extract this one. I just didn't do it here for some reason. The sad thing is I've basically passed this down. Passed the entire options and data time and base time right there. And then I moved, oh, yeah, in that we lost our time entirely. don't know exactly when the moment was. In fact, I think I lost my location as well. Where was there an actual town? A wall in the middle of nowhere. Oh, this is where I wanted to make it a little bit easier to find settlements. There's a different one. All right, so if we go into here. Oh, text.split is not a function. 1658. No, 1658. Uh, did not split. Oh, what? Is that that's the size of this array? Okay. Our data times aren't making any sense. Now we had seen some map logs before. So what the heck are we passing here? Okay, that's that. Arguments. XYZ. Right, this must be getting augmented by the process of requesting. Oh, it might very well be that there's no actual map logs here, because this might be after anything happened. Um, so in that case, it's just key place. Wait, but it's returning an empty string, not... Is that what data cache is supposed to do? Promise. Oh, yep. If it's some kind of error, resolve with blank. But everything carry on. Yeah, we can check for blank as easy. Maybe that's not what we want to do. X.split is not a function. Okay. Well, that shouldn't affect... Where we're having this is not... I mean, an empty string still should have the split method. Unless I'm forgetting... Yeah. So it's not actually a text. Definitely some of them were returning that. So text is... Oh, the all does not return how I thought it returned. All returns as results, and then we have to fish it out ourselves. Okay, no crash. All right, we shouldn't have the objects off. So we got something weird happening here. It could have been an age change. Oh. Okay, oh, I'm not actually passing base through yet. So it's actually... Right, so nothing found, so it will get back to last image if there was nothing happening. But if something was happening, we do that time. So now, when we create map log, it's around where we use map log, create arc map log layer. S and okay. Unfortunately, we use a specific set of things here. Span.msstart, span.datatime, world.generation, span.base, I think is all I called it. You have to take base. I just call it datatime before. SN, because I was actually doing stuff with it, but this just has to be datatime. Oh, I was specifically two-stringing it. Because I was using it for a number and then I wasn't. Okay. Neo. Go to maplog sprite. Maplog sprite, where we dummied in our URL. All right, so specifically, very specific. Which we probably just won't find anything, but I could do a short circuit for that. Oh, that was a small change. And there's more blinking than I want, but that'll be optimization. And then we have real changes. And that might be the start of the 8. Yep, you're 0. We enter a new span, and most of our stuff was cached. People wander through every once in a while. Maybe they drop and pick up a horse, which is why we saw the hitches. Mostly it just sits there until... And we've got a slight boundary problem here. All right, are we printing extra stuff? We're not printing extra stuff. Does this check off a note? That pretty much handles base. This is another one of those special case things. Yeah, I don't know if we'll have time to get into world generation stuff today. Extract. Well, composition could still refer to the tile at bit. All right, so if we actually have, let's see, this would kind of be, is it, well, key. If I come into you, and I pass a 0, you are going to be an array of placements. No. All the rest of this stuff, well, this is where this might be nice as a functional extraction. I could also say that this thing if it data.time is 0, it's just, but what are you expecting? This thing is always expecting text. We still need to go through and do natural objects and things. And we can tell, let's see, can we tell? For what? Yeah, that's the map log. There's KP. Actually, I guess what I'm looking for is anything at 0. Yeah. There's a 0. And if we look at this, and we may have had to scrub around a little bit there. So that actually wasn't too bad. Went through all of this before, and oh, that loading time. Oh, we reset our time again. Oh, were we not in that? Okay, there it is. Maybe I need to be in this to get our range set up properly. The other thing is that right now I'm always fetching them. When I streamline things, I don't actually need to fetch the base image if we've already like fetched and built the log image for, because it's just previous image plus the changes. Okay, we never fetch 0. This is going to require the rewrite. Yeah, that's kind of this. But we have to have something that sort of like has all of that information. Mm-hmm. And the index files need once per time, then it affects every tile. What was that? Indexed. So you would be purely indexed. Well, technically it's time and zoom. Now I was just doing a URL cap. That is good. That's going to a file cap. The text. You know the URL. So we do have a method get data tile URL. And we would have something similar to this. Yeah, I don't want Hmm. That's at that time. I don't think I've actually done exploration yet. So anything around this time should be like kind of. Well, it's not close enough. Yeah. So I still don't have really good means of like locating. You've got the monuments, which could have been. Oh, okay, yeah. Which must have been a previous town. Hmm. Yeah, this seems like it could have been a bell town, or that's a little weird. Yeah, so a lot of the roads and things actually don't show up at this level. Town. Yeah, so it should be 25 to really kind of civilization. Other than the sort of the aura of town. And I think I might need to do something that like goes through the map logs and like kind of does a heat map of it so you can find things at larger distance. This must have been from a different town. Or they went out there to build the bell tower. 'Cause yeah, I probably need to make these a bit more times. Yeah, actually that would have been before this reset. Might have been where people kind of settled nearby though. And this also is not sort of up to. I'm probably missing a couple days of data processing. And because I had to move all large files. Wow. Yeah, that was the edge of it. Yeah, this is 16. Yeah, I might be several days behind. Does this make sense? I guess the way to see if it makes sense is, well, that arc is too big. So that isn't necessarily all of the lives that were here. Yeah, so I'm apparently much farther behind. Oh, because I've got Fate on. Yeah, okay. That works. I guess that sort of works for finding settle. Maybe I don't want the Fate. And we hadn't seen you yet. Oh, and those are new too. That was new. Oh, this might actually old. That was definitely something. All right, well, it's a start. I think I'm going to do some more data formatting. I still have to get the new in because you showing seeds, they're wrong. Not two parts. And that's going to be some stuff all the way through the pipeline. Anyway. Thanks for watching. Thanks to everybody who hosted me. I'm hoping to come back and add some data to this bit here. This is about when I'm usually on, so I'm usually trying to wrap up around now. Actually, let's see. Have I see somebody else playing right now. Or someplace cool to hang out. Like Law Wizard is actually doing some 1R1 life right now. That's someplace cool to hang out. Thanks for hanging out with me. Goodbye and until